Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. So today I'm just gonna be showing you it's just a little work with me. Watch me work. So today I'm doing a short set with a just a pink acrylic. We'll be using Valentino's Prettiest Pink for today's set, which you guys will see later. Super pretty, beautiful, and yeah, let's just get into this. So I'm starting by prepping the nail. So I went ahead and etched it with my drill. My Kira Sky drill uses speed about 3,000 RPMs, I believe, and a fine tip sanding band. And I am also using Valentino clear stiletto tips for today's set. My client wanted squoval nails, but she likes the narrow look of coffin, so we filed it in just a little bit, but I mean, it's still mostly square. And let me tell you guys, I was having a day with the glue. You guys are going to see me here struggling. I wanted to keep all of this in. The salon was very cold this day. The glue did not want to set. It was getting a little bit old. And I tossed it after this client. It took too long to set, and you just see me here playing with it and playing with it and playing with it and squeezing and pushing. So after I etch the nail, I am going in and sizing her fingers with the tips. Her pinky is very small. This client of mine, she typically wears a size 10. So the smallest that you can get on a pinky, and Valentino, the smallest size was a 9. So I had to go in and file it in a little bit. But we're making sure that the tips go from sidewall to sidewall. Very, very important. Don't want any gaps. If you guys have issues with this, it's, your glue is probably a little bit old. It's not fast drying anymore. Time to get some new glue. My client was very patient with me, so I'm thankful for that. Now that all of the tips are on, we're gonna go in and cut them down to the length. This is a shorty set, so they're gonna be pretty short. So you'll actually see I cut it, and I always ask my clients before I cut, like, what length are we thinking? I'll put the clippers up, and before I clip down, like, how does this length look? It will be slightly shorter after filing shaping. I mean, not significantly, but it will be a little bit shorter, and all that. And so I cut her nails, and she was like, I think they're okay. I don't know. So we cut all of them down, and then she was like, yeah, these are too long. So I had to go back in and cut them down some more, which is no problem. Glad she said something now, instead of after, bling acrylic, it's just a lot more effort to file down that shape. You could use your e-file, um, but this is obviously the easiest way. So we're just going in and shortening up all the nails again. And I wanted to make sure right there that the nail tip was actually glued down. It looked like it was a little bit loose, but it was there. It was secure. And then her thumbnail, her natural nails, she didn't want to cut down at all. So her thumbnail was already a little bit longer. So I cut that tip just slightly longer so that I could file down to the top of her thumbnail. But she'll still get a nice square shape because her natural nail isn't quite that square. And now I'm going in with a 100-100 file from Kira Sky, and just doing a little bit of shaping. And you'll see here me on this thumbnail trying to shorten it down just a little bit. The clippers, the length that you would have cut down some of that nail would have been like right there at the tip. So I just made it slightly longer, and here I am just filing it down to the length that it needs to be. And so now I'm going back in with the same sanding band with my Kira Sky e-file using 3000 RPMs, and again just etching the nail just a little bit more, blending in that tip just a little bit, and making sure all the cuticle is off of the natural nail plate. And now I'm going in with my little cuticle ball bit, using it at a speed of 3000 RPMs, and just going around her cuticles. Her cuticles weren't really that bad, which is good. She likes, I get on her about her hydrating her cuticles. So they have come a long way from when she first started with me. So yeah, we're just going around and lightly doing that. You want to make sure you're not adding too much pressure. This shouldn't hurt the client at all. Nothing in the nail service should hurt your client at all. There should be no burning, no cutting, no bleeding, no uncomfortability for your client. So I'm always asking them, if you feel anything uncomfortable or anything like that, let me know. So just gently going around the cuticle with that. Now I'm going in with Beauty Secrets nail primer, and I do 2 coats of this. I just like doing 2 coats of the primer, and just applying that to the natural nail. You don't need to apply this to the tip. This just dehydrates the nail, and a nail tip doesn't have any oil going to it because it's not real. So now we're going to be going in with our acrylic. So I am using C&D monomer, and I'm using Valentino's Prettiest Pink is the color acrylic that we are using today. I'm just going in with small beads, and like I said, the shop was kind of cold, so the acrylic was a little bit a different consistency than normal. So it was very wet beads that I was working with today. So you'll just see like a lot of padding and a lot of trying to get it smooth and getting coverage, making sure like the color isn't super transparent, making sure that it's an even flow of color all throughout the nail. And since this is a colored acrylic, I will be encapsulating it in clear. So at this point in time, I'm not super worried about building up apex, building up strength through the nail. I am really just trying to make sure that there's even coverage, even color coverage. Yeah, and I typically start up at the cuticle, put one ball close to the cuticle, not quite at it, and push back just a little bit to make sure that it's nice and flush there. And then you'll see me just kind of patting down. You want to make sure that you keep your client's angle at a downward angle so that the acrylic just flows downward and it's not flowing back up into the cuticle area. So kind of just keep it down, and just once you place that first ball and you get it nice around the cuticle how you want it, just take your brush and we're just going to take light strokes and pull it down, keeping that finger at a downward angle. And then I take a second bead and I put it kind of at the free edge, kind of sort of, where the natural nail would meet the tip. And because that's where you would start to build up your apex. Well, you would build it up a little bit further behind that a little bit. But anyway, these are really short nails. So I am just getting the color there. So that's why I'm placing the ball there. This isn't really about the strength of the nail again. This is just about getting the color coverage. So I guess it's easier to see where I place it than me telling you exactly where I place it. But each of these nails, I do use 2 to 3 balls to cover the nail. And I'm constantly wiping my brush. You can see how wet it is. I am using the Kiara Sky, I believe this is number 14 brush. I love it. I just got it not too long ago, and I love it. Now that we have to add more liquid, you know. And now we're actually going in and capping all of those nails in clear acrylic. So now is where I'm adding strength to the nail. So this client likes her nails very thin. Typically, the thickness of a nail, the tip should, not be any thicker than a credit card. It should be the thickness of a credit card. This client likes them thinner than that. So I'm putting at least 1 bead at the cuticle, making sure that's nice and flush at the cuticle, making sure that it's, fully covering the colored acrylic that is underneath it, and just pulling it down. And because of where I placed the second ball of acrylic for the color, the Prettiest Pink Valentino color that we placed, there's kind of already a little bit of not strength, but there's more acrylic there already, so I don't have to worry about building up an apex too much. 1 to 2 balls of this clear acrylic on each nail. They're pretty small, is going to give me all the coverage and the strength that I need for this client, again, because she likes her nails very thin and they're short, so I'm not too worried about her breaking them or any kind of damage to them. And just going around the cuticle, making sure that it's clean. Don't want any product on that, around your cuticles. Yeah. Oh, and I'm using not polish clear acrylic is what I'm using to encapsulate this nail, or just really adding the strength. All right, and now once the acrylic is set, that's what you see me doing, tapping my brush against the nail. You should hear a nice clicking sound. That's how you know your acrylic is dry and you can go in and file. So now I am going in with a 100 grit file, same file as I was using earlier, and going in and just doing some shaping. This is the start of the shaping. I will go back in and do some more touch-ups after I go into my e-file, but I'm making sure that there's no acrylic touching the skin, so you'll see me push back the side walls, making sure that if any product got on there, like nothing is sticking to the side of her skin or anything like that. Filing, making sure that we have a nice square shape. Like I said, she is doing squoval. It's not super squoval. Squoval is square round. She likes it square, but she doesn't like she doesn't want them to be like pointy square. So we're going in, squaring them, make sure everything is the same length, everything is the same shape, all that good stuff. So that's what we're going in doing now, making sure everything's off of the sidewalls and things like that. And then we'll be going in with an e-file. I'll be using a 5-in-1 bit. At first, it's a medium grit. Yeah, a medium grit 5-in-1 bit that I'll be using. So here I am with my e-file. We're at 6,000 RPMs with my 5-in-1 file. I said 6,000 RPMs. I meant 5,000 RPMs. And we're just going around the cuticle. Like I said, the nails were already thin. We didn't add a whole bunch of strength to the nail. So this is really just making sure that everything looks nice and flush, that the cuticle area is nice and capped, is really nice and flush. You want to make sure you don't want it, it needs to look natural, it looks need like the real nail, it just kind of flows. So we're just going around getting really, really close there and just trying to make it look as flush as possible, and just making the whole nail look smooth. If at this point, if you need to thin out your nail, use your file, go ahead and thin out your nail. If you need to create more of your apex or less fit even out, you got to bump, this is the time that you would be doing that. The better that you lay your acrylic, the less time you have to spend filing. So it's always the goal to lay your acrylic as nice as possible so you can spend less time filing. Definitely takes time and practice. Same does filing. Learning how to use an e-file definitely takes time and practice, and learning how to hand file also does. So just keep working at it and you'll get it, and you'll just get faster and faster. All right, and now I am going in again with a fine sanding band and just lightly going over everything again, making sure that everything is really smooth, that there's not any ridges or anything like that on the nail. When you use a medium or coarse bit or anything like that, it's gonna leave marks on the nail. So this is gonna smooth it out and make sure you don't have any lines or grittiness at all to the nail. It will feel really, really smooth and it will look smooth. If you ever forget to buff or smooth it out in your nail like this, you'll definitely be able to see it in your polish. So if you ever wonder my polish looks a little streaky, grainy, something like that, it might just be the results of the coarseness of the file. So you're always going to want to make sure that you go in and smooth it out, buff the nail, or use a sanding band and make sure that your nail is really smooth. I do both. There are some techs who prefer to do one or the other, use both, whatever. So whatever your preference is, as long as you're making sure that you're taking care of the nail. All right, and we're gonna go in for one more time of final shaping, making sure that the sides are really nice and straight, and then going in and kind of rounding off the corners just a little bit so that they're not so square sharp for my clients. And something that I did off camera, it's hard to see, I flip the hand around and look at it from the client's perspective to make sure that it looks the same way from all angles. Something that you always want to make sure you do. It helps you make sure that the nail is straight from how they're looking at it. Make sure that your squares are squares, the coffin is coffin, and the stiletto is stiletto. Making sure that everything is straight and crisp from how they're saying it. It can look completely different from your angle. So you always want to make sure you flip their hand around and look at it from their way. And after we finish shaping this nail, we will be going in with a buffer and buffing it, making sure it's nice and smooth and ready for polishing. Again, you want to make sure you're holding their nails nice and tight, so nobody's fingers is flying everywhere and buffers flying everywhere and things like that. And your nails can definitely, natural nails can definitely start to feel a little bit sore underneath at this point. So especially if the nails are really long, or if your natural nail underneath is kind of thin, you can really start to feel kind of the push and pull of the buffer at this point. So just make sure that you're holding that nice and tight. And then I went ahead and cleansed the nail with Young Nail Swipe. And now I'm just top coating it with a shiny top coat. It is in a gelish top coat bottle, but it's not a gelish product. I actually don't know what the brand is of the top coat, but we're just gonna go ahead and top coat this with shiny top coat, stick it in the light for 60 seconds, and we're done. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please make sure to like and subscribe and be on the lookout for more stuff from me. Bye guys.